I said, I do look a lot better retouched than I do in real life. And so we're going to talk a little bit about senior photography, and I'm going to basically kind of go through what a senior goes through here at our studio. I'm going to touch a little bit on marketing, how we're going to get them in the door, but talk mostly at the end about pricing and packaging, because we all need to know how to make more money. First of all, it's a little bit different here doing a presentation, sitting here at my desk, looking at a computer screen, talking into a phone. I'm normally used to standing in front of people and seeing all of your faces, and you get people agreeing with you, and it's kind of fun and stuff. So I have in front of me, I have my my bobblehead collection here in front of me, and every time I say something good, I'm going to kick my desk and have them shake their head, and so I know they're agreeing with me. So that's my audience I have here today. Just a little bit about myself. I'm married. That's my wife, Emily. I have 3 children, Alex, who's 15, Gabriella, who's 10, and my 1-year-old daughter, Caroline. Great surprise to us, and she's just been a fantastic joy. This is normally the slide here I show where everyone can ooh and ah over a beautiful baby. So that's my red-headed family, so you know a little bit about me. I'm just going to share you a little bit about our studio so you have an idea of where I'm coming from and what kind of business I have. First of all, I have this is my studio here. It's in 2 different buildings. There's the main building, which is the one on the left. It's basically a 100-year-old Victorian-style home. And then the building to the right is our carriage house, which is going to be our children's studio. So we have a separate space just for children to be photographed. And then in the main studio is another camera room where we photograph high school seniors, families, and then our sales rooms, production rooms, etc. So this is our studio. One thing that we really think is important is that we want to set the tone from the beginning, from the time that a client first comes into our studio, that they know that this is going to be a nice place to have their pictures taken, and kind of set the tone from the beginning as far as what kind of experience they're going to have. And that definitely goes in with the style of your image of your studio and how people feel when they pull up front. This is just a shot of the carriage house here, so you can see that separate building. I just took a few shots around the outside landscaping area just so you can kind of see the portrait park that we're able to shoot in. I show these images because when I bought this property, this was a big parking lot. The entire backyard was a parking lot, and so I was able to do some trading with a lady I had done high school senior pictures for, whose daughter was a senior, whose mom owned a greenhouse, and she wanted more and more pictures, and the more pictures she bought, the more plants I would trade with her. So she would bring me a truckload of plants and get more pictures, and next thing you know, our entire backyard was completely finished with gardens, and it was a good trade. You always want to keep an eye out where you can find things like that. This door here that you see is one of our favorite props that we use in our garden setting, and this was something we had done a home and garden show where we had a display set up to advertise our studio. And these home and garden shows, these landscapers come in and they do huge amounts of, they put a huge amount of money into displays for their landscaping. And I had talked to one landscaper, and he said that he spends upwards to $100,000 a year just on his display for this home and garden show. Well, this door here was in one of the landscapers' display. So I went and spoke to him. I said, what do you do with all this stuff when you're done? He says, well, basically what we do is we tear it out and throw everything away. So I told him I would be interested in that door, and I basically traded him a few hours of photographing some gardens for his website in exchange for that door, and I actually got a couple smaller doors that kind of match it as well. So, always keep your eye out for different backgrounds, different ideas. Trading is a great way to come up with new backgrounds, anything. That red door to the right, we have a week here in St. John's, which is where my studio is here in Michigan. We're about 20 minutes north of Lansing, which is the capital city, and it's in a town of about 9,000. So every year in the spring we have, we call it trash picking week, where you can put anything you want out to the curb, and people drive around and they basically rummage through other people's trash to find little treats. Well, every year we load up in my pickup truck and we drive around and we look for new things that we can make backgrounds out of. So every year we come up with a collection of brand new doors that we can paint different colors and use for backgrounds. We can use them in our gardens or in our studio. It's just been a really great thing for us. So it's especially good when there's a flood or something throughout the year, so we can have better trash picking. because if basements flood, they put more things out. Just a few other shots of our backyard here. You can kind of see gardens area, plants and trees. Like I said, when I bought the studio, it was about 12 years ago. This was a big parking lot. So we just have little areas where we can shoot. Like I said, always looking for different background ideas. That blue wall there was actually a deck of one of my employees around her pool, and she tore it out, put a new deck in, and we took it and made a cool little barn wood wall out of it. Just little areas that you can shoot in, with a little pond area, little brick path. If anyone ever does any kind of things with paths, we put down crushed brick. I would recommend in the future that instead of doing the crushed brick, it's kind of tough on little kids' feet, to maybe do like a stamped concrete or something like that. Kind of an overview from back this way. And then as we go into the main studio, like I said, I want to really set the tone from the time that people walk into the studio so they know the experience they're going to have. But then I also want to set the tone from the time that they walk in to have them know what different products and what really cool things we can offer. You know, we're in a town of, like I said, 9,000 people just north of Lansing. When I bought this building here and opened my business here 12 years ago, I was one of about 3 photographers in the area doing photography. Now, here we are a few years later, and there's probably, I would say, upwards to 30 photographers just in town that I know of that's doing photography. So one thing that we have to do to really set ourselves apart is not only give them an incredible experience, but also offer products that you're not going to be able to find at other studios. So when a client gets something special, they can share with their friends, wow, look at this really cool product that I got from Canfield Jenkins. So when you first walk in, the first thing you're going to see in our studio is going to be canvas gallery wraps. Now, we like to sell a lot of canvas gallery wraps, so this is right in the front entranceway. These 2 gallery wraps happen to be 17 inches by 40 inches tall. So they're kind of an odd size, and they really catch your eye. And I can't stress enough that if you want to sell something, you really have to show it. If you want to sell canvas gallery wraps, you need to display them around your studio, or you'll never be able to sell them. This is the main entranceway. When you go through those doors, you come into this room here. Now, you see the table in the center of the room here that has the little square prints on it. My aunt does interior design, and she actually has a small office in our studio. And one day she came around, she rearranged our front room, and she put this product out on this little table. This is a product we call our Gallery 5. And it's a product that we had on our price list for about a year, and I don't think I ever sold it one time. That's the product that I thought was pretty neat. Well, we redesigned our front room here, and she put it right here on this table, and that very first week I sold it 3 times. Well, that definitely told me that you need to show a product if you want to sell it. So what that Gallery 5 is this product right here. It's basically 5 different 8x8-inch prints. They come on a bevel edge board, and then we present it on the easel. We sell it. It comes right with the easel. So the bevel edge is basically a mount board. It's something we get from our lab. We really like to partner with our lab, Burrell Imaging. They're always helping us come up with new product ideas. And this product right here, this Gallery 5, is actually something that's become so popular from us sharing it with other photographers that Burrell Imaging actually has this product right in their catalog called the Gallery 5. So if you go into their ordering system, you'll be able to order the Gallery 5 just like we order it. Like I said, it's 5 8x8-inch prints. We put the pebbly textured finish on it, and it has the bevel edge mount. Now, the bevel edge mount you can get 2 different ways. It can either come with just a regular mount board bevel edge, or now they're actually making them on masonite bevel edge. What's really nice about the masonite boards are that they don't warp over time, and they're very solid. It gives it a little bit more of a richer feel. So we'll do 5 8x8s on an easel, or we'll do one 10x10 like this with multiple images on the easel. So that would be a 10x10-inch print with the bevel edge board and the easel. So those are products that we have right off the bat when people walk in, and those are products that we really enjoy selling to not only high school seniors, but also families, children, weddings. We've had every different avenue of our business has taken advantage of these products. I'm going to show you a few more displays around our studio. This is close to a 60-inch canvas wrap that we have up in our studio. This is another canvas wrap display that we have up in our studio. One thing that's really nice about the wraps that we get from Burrell is that they're actually they're called print wraps when you order them from Burrell. they have two different styles of wraps, actually three different styles, but two different styles of canvas wraps. One being an inkjet wrap, which is called a gallery wrap at the lab, and the other one being a print wrap. The difference between the print wrap and the gallery wrap is one is inkjet technology. The gallery wrap is inkjet technology, where the image is printed on canvas with inkjet. Is then wrapped, and then it looks like your normal canvas wrap. What I prefer to use are the print wraps, where they're actually photographed. They're photographs on. They're printed on e-surface, or you can also use metallic photographic paper. The emulsion is peeled from the paper backing, and then it is embedded on the canvas, and then it's wrapped. So it's made like a traditional photographic canvas has been made for years, but Burrell took it a step further and actually made a wrap out of it. Because they're so solid, I'm able to make really cool products like this one here that you see on your screen. This is what we call our McAllister grouping. So it's something that I show in my studio as a grouping that's for sale. What this is the upper left-hand wrap is actually a 20 by 24 inch, 2-inch wrap, and then all the other wraps are 1-inch wraps. And you can see the images in the center I've actually mounted on top of the ones behind it, like here. Because these are so solid, and the boards that they stretch these wraps on are solid wood, I actually screw right through the back of the wrap behind it and screw it right to the wrap on front, so it's actually floating off the wall. So like I said, that image up in the upper left-hand corner of the family with the car is a 2-inch wrap, and the other ones are 1-inch wraps. And so when you look at it from the side, it all has the same dimension, but has some depth with being able to mount them on top of each other. I wanted to show you one other thing. This is kind of a basic wrap display that we sell. I actually sold it to high school senior twins this year who started with this basic output, and then we added 16 by 24 print and then two 24 by 30 prints on either side to go in their home. So it's been a great thing. When I put this up, I put a big price tag on it, not thinking I would ever sell it. I have sold it a handful of times. So once again, if you want to sell it, you have to show it. And it's always neat to come up with different product ideas. This is another canvas wrap display in our studio, just simply 4 16 by 16-inch canvas wraps to show a grouping. Right below it, you'll see kind of a fun area in our studio a lot of high school seniors really love is like the little candy bar here where they can go and get snacks, and that's been a real popular thing in our studio. Once again, just another grouping showing 3 16 by 16-inch prints with white pebble mats, and like I said, it's just you have to show it if you want to sell it. And all these groupings that I have throughout my studio are all groupings that you'll see on my price list. This is our senior sales room. In our senior sales room, obviously everything is dedicated to high school seniors. You can see the canvas wraps in the wall because we want to sell them. Those are two 20 by 30-inch canvas wraps. We have a 24 by 30-inch print direct to a frame hanging there on the wall as well. So we're trying to show large wall portraits because it's our goal to be able to sell large wall portraits to our clients. Also, you'll see some panels. We like to sell panels as well. And when I get to the pricing part of the program, I'm going to talk about how we start with a wall portrait. We can discount our package later on to try to get them to hit every area of our price list that we want to sell. I'm kicking my desk right now, so the bobbleheads are nodding yes while I take a drink of water. This is our projection sales room. All of our family and children sales are done via projection sales, which is I highly recommend. I'm going to explain a little bit later how we do our high school seniors. If you can project your high school seniors, I think it's a really good thing. For our studio, it's a little bit tougher with the volume of seniors we do as well as our family and children sales. We would have a hard time trying to get everybody through our projection sales room. So we do sell our high school seniors a little bit differently, and I'll explain that a little bit later. If you do have anything to do with projection, a key thing in this room is when you look in the left-hand corner of that room behind that canvas wrap that's on the easel there, it looks just like a white square. But what that actually is pieces of white foam core cut to different sizes. So the large board is a 30 by 40 board, and then I have a 24 by 30, 20 by 24, 16 by 20, and 11 by 14 board, all cut there. So when we're starting to talk about different size wall portraits, I'm able to pull a board out the exact size of the wall portrait that I'm trying to sell. I'm also able to if we're trying to decide between two different sizes or three different sizes, I can pull out three different boards and lay them out so the clients can see the actual size of what their portrait will be. Basically, a screen comes down there. You can see my family portrait there on the wall. That's my old family before the baby. That projection screen pulls down over that, and the images are projected on that screen, and I can lay the boards down on the ground in front of it. This is just the other half of the room that I keep my projector and my laptop tucked into that armoire there, and then when it's time to do a sales appointment, I just simply open it up and pull my computer out to a little table that I pull up next to that couch for my sales appointment. This is my camera room in the main studio. This is where I photograph all of my high school seniors. It's not a very large space. It's about 13 feet wide, and then it's pretty long space, but I primarily use the area that you see there where the window is and the lights. So it's set up like this, but if I want to shoot something on the background, this is the other half of the camera room, which is nice. I have a couch in that area where the mother can come and sit while I'm photographing a high school senior. I really encourage my seniors to bring their parents with them for a couple different reasons. One, I think the parents should be a part of the process. I think you're selling from the point that your senior first walks in the door, and you don't need to sell to the high school senior. You really need to sell to the parent. So as I'm photographing the high school senior, I can not only be, talking with the parents, but also starting to sell some of the products that we're going to be able to create for them when it's all said and done with. So it's nice to have them in their room, but with the way my studio's set up, they're kind of tucked away just a little bit at the other end of the camera room, so they're not really intruding with this session. So you saw this is my main camera room here. I do shoot a lot with window light. I don't do very much with different types of props or anything like that. I mostly like to use different kind of chairs and stools just to assist in posing. And then I really like to shoot just on plain backgrounds. You can see my walls painted a couple different colors. I'm going to show you a couple different backgrounds that I've shot with. But really my style is very simple, and I try to make it more about the kid. So I can have my camera room set up like this with the window light situation, or like this. This is the exact same view where I have a canvas that comes down. I have 4 different canvases that I can pull down in front of that window to give you a little bit more of a studio look. So quite often I'll start off with my camera room like this where I do head and shoulders type portraits for the high school senior, and then after that I might crank up my canvases and shoot mostly with window light. Of course, where I live here in Michigan, sometimes the weather can be quite overcast, and sometimes my window light's not real effective just because of the low light situation. This just kind of gives you a basic idea of my pretty basic lighting setup. Here's a model here so you can kind of see pretty typical lighting setup for me. I have my main light there to the left. I have a reflector to the right. I don't shoot with any fill light. This is pretty much all my lights that you would see. A main light and a reflector to fill. A hair light separation light coming in there from the upper right hand corner. You see how that puts like a nice highlight in the back of the hair and coming down the shoulder, and then a background light that I would use for like head and shoulders type portraits. So pretty simple lighting situation. I try to make everything as simple as possible when it comes to lighting, so that when I'm photographing I'm not fumbling over lots of different lights, just trying to get a beautiful image with as little equipment as possible. I think a lot of times people, when they're photographing, they have such a hard time. They're always trying to think, well, what am I going to do next? How am I going to pose them next? So forth and so on. These 3 shots you see here, this is one pose. I posed her one time. I tweaked her pose just a little bit for that center shot, and then you see the image all the way to the right. So basically, I'm a big advocate of pose once and shoot a couple times, not of the same pose, not the same crop, but different crops to give you something completely different. That way, like this, like I said, was one pose. It was 3 different, just little tweaks, but mostly different crops, and you have 3 very different style of images. Same thing here, the boy on the top. I posed him once, sitting there against the wall. I did a full length, and then I came in close and did something more up close. They look completely different, but he did nothing different in his pose. I did everything different in cropping in the camera. The images on the bottom there on the fence, go ahead and lean there on that fence, did a 3/4 pose, came in close, recomposed my shot a little bit, and did something completely different. So you can see, pose once, shoot twice. That's kind of one of my styles that I really like to do. and it gets you good variety without having to think of so many different poses to come up with. Same thing here, one pose, 3 different shots, completely different feels. This is just a little bit about some different backgrounds that I use. Like I said, I don't spend a lot of money on backgrounds. I like to kind of make my own. Everything you see here is basically homemade. The canvases, the purple, the orange, the blue, and the pink canvas that you see there are basically just different size raw canvases that are already on stretcher frames that you can get like at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something like that we can paint on. Then we can move those wherever we need them. That's one thing that I really like about having portable backgrounds is if I want to use my window light, I can move them into my window light. Or if I want to use my strobes, I can move them to where that's going to work the best. So I can use my hair light, etc. The blue shutters there, that came from Trash Picking Week. The metal thing to the right is basically a 4x8 sheet piece of insulation with 2 foot by 2 foot plastic ceiling tiles. I think that I got at Menards or Lowe's or something like that. I just did like liquid nails and stuck them to a heavy piece of foam insulation. On the back side I have a different set with different panels, and that other door is just a piece of wood that's painted that red color. The other side's painted a different color. So I like to be versatile with my backgrounds, and I like to have them be portable so I can move them to wherever the light's best for one of my seniors there. This has been a real popular background for us, the tin ceilings. You can see the website there, AmericanTinCeilings.com. These are actually metal tin ceilings, and they're 2 foot by 2 foot size panels. You can buy them in any different pattern. You can get them all the same pattern. We got multiple patterns and put them up in the wall. So this little background that I've made in my studio is 8 foot by 8 foot. It's pretty decent size. I can photograph a small group on it if I want. And what's nice about these tin tiles, they come, you can get them unfinished. So when they come, they're like a shiny metal color, and then you're able to paint them whatever color that you want. I had them painted blue for a while, then I painted them white, and now actually this week we're kind of painting them black with like a gold finish to kind of give it a deeper feel. So that's one thing that is kind of a cool background for us, AmericanTinCeilings.com, and they're not real expensive when you order these. When we do order backgrounds, we really enjoy working with MadCamp backgrounds, and there's a website there, and they do these really cool painted backgrounds. I'm sure most of you are familiar with them. What's really neat about these canvases is that they're really unique and different on both sides where the paint bleeds through the canvas. So I can use one side, or I can flip it over and use the other side, and it's a completely different canvas. These canvases are also very, very cool in black and white. A lot of times I'll use them as a combination, like these two together. I'll use them as a combination in black and white just to get different textures of gray, basically. Other places where you can find really cool backgrounds is Urban Outfitters. You can buy sheets or duvet covers, fabric stores, blankets. That little black, the black with the scrolly thing on it right there in the front, those came from Urban Outfitters, and they were sheets. So always be on the lookout for what you can use for cool backgrounds, but just material is great for close-ups for seniors or three-quarter shots. Like I said, and I like everything being portable so I can move it in the light that's best for me. If you're curious about what color backgrounds you should make for the upcoming year, there's a website for Pantone, and you see the URL right there on your screen. What this website does is talks to you a little bit about the color trends that you're going to see coming in clothes that you can use so you can customize your backgrounds to what's going to be best for what's coming up this coming year. So that's what right now we're in the process of repainting our backgrounds. So we make sure we have backgrounds that are going to match the clothes that we see coming in. This is just a few samples from what their website's all about. So let me click back to that page again so you can see that website there. So you can go and see what the colors are for this coming year. The bobbleheads are shaking their heads yes. Framing room in our studio, we do a lot of framing. It's important for us to finish our product and put a beautiful frame on our wall portraits. I often tell people that our photography is not very good, but we have really nice frames. And I think that a finished frame job can really help the finished product. look good in your client's home, which is going to then give you good word-of-mouth advertising to other people. All of our 8x10s, 5x7s, and 4x5 size gift portraits do come mounted and framed. It's just how we sell them in our packages. This is something that's been very important to us, that we were able to, once again, set ourselves apart from maybe some other people, other photographers in our area, that we finish our job. So in our packages, like I said, our 8x10s, 5x7s, 4x5 gift portraits all do come mounted, glazed, and framed. Now notice I said glazed. That's a word that we use in front of our clients. Basically, that's just a nice word to replace the word sprayed. We finish everything with a spray that protects the images from anything to get on them. So we take the glass out of these 8x10s and 5x7 frames, we mount the print, and then they just go directly into these frames. This is like a senior order when someone's waiting to come, or someone was coming to pick up their senior order. So when they've spent quite a bit of money at your studio, instead of them coming into the studio and picking up just a box of loose prints or a box with a bunch of folders in it with some images in it, they're coming in and they're seeing all their images displayed like this, so they're actually seeing some value for their money they're spent. We do put a little card in with their order explaining about the mounting and the glazing, and to tell them how to take care of their portraits. It's just something that gives you one more thing to set you apart from everybody else. So if you call our studio and they say, you get the famous question, how much is an 8x10 print? Well, we can say ours is $80. However, it does come mounted, glazed, and framed, and that's going to set you apart from someone else.